Well, good morning. How are you? Good to have you on with us this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And we'll say hello to some dear friends. Have you had your eggs, meat, and cheese? Brahim, how are you, buddy? Portland, Oregon. We appreciate you coming on, Brahim. We love you dearly. And who else is up there? Come on. Hi, Lori Lee, Ventura, California. How is ya? Sandy from Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Fran from Orangeville. Good morning. Another Lori, but she's from Alberta. Tracy, Kansas. Joanne, North Bay. Wendy, Markham. Frida, how are you? Who was that? Chatham. Was that Nina? Janine, West Kelowna. Betty Lynn, Brantford. Carol, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Anne. And Gina, good morning. Kevin, there he is from Oshawa. Yolande, bonjour. And Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Sherry, Mississauga. Nancy, Gore's Landing. Donna from Park Hill. And David, Ridgeway. Sharon, Kansas. And Catherine, how are you from Newfoundland? Janice from Brampton, good morning to ya. Vince, Tarana. Diane, Thunder Bay. Grace, how are you? Dave, Gilmore. Keith, there he is from the Banana Belt. Sue from Bolton. Veronica, how are you this morning? Nick from our staff. And Catherine from Parksville, British Columbia. Bright and early. Yvonne, Petawawa. Dorothy, good morning. Bonnie. Little Britain, Rosalinda, right from Niagara Falls, the kidneys of Canada. Brandon, Indiana. Francis, Pickering. Jose, Sue, Douglas, good morning. And Nellie, good morning. And Donna from Bell Valley. And Gary from Bolton. And yeah, where's Mike? And who was that from Baxter? And Ella from West Tennessee. Francis, good morning. Jose Mac. Yeah, praying for Jasper. Yeah, let's do that. Doreen. Maria from Oshawa. Arlene. And Carmel, Newfoundland. Bonnie, Annandale, Minnesota. And Vanda, how are ya? And who went up there? I couldn't see. Tina. Okay, guys, let's get going. Lorraine, how are you from Oshawa? We appreciate you. Chantal, Sudbury, Rita, how are you? And Carol. And Donna from Newfoundland. And who was that there? Tina, good morning. And Dave from Cardiff. Jocelyn, how are you? And Rita from Wasaga Beach. Okay. Mara, how are you? Okay. What I want to do this morning, I want to talk to you about the difference between glucose and fructose. Okay? I just want to spend a few minutes here talking about that, and then I want to get you thinking about one of our biggest problems in our medical health, our health in North America. A catastrophe. And, you know, it was interesting because... here's one of the reasons I was thinking about this, because, you know, hot on the news cycle, the president of the United States last night made a statement And I found it to be ridiculous. Not politically, but medically. You know what he said? We're going to get rid of cancer. Hello? Hello? I remember when President Nixon declared war on cancer in the 1970s. I remember when he said it. And here we are, 50 years later, and we haven't won the war on cancer. And as a matter of fact, we're going backwards. We got more cancer today than ever before. As a matter of fact, let me just read something to you. When did I pick this up? Hold on, I got a new study on cancer. It's crazy. Here it is. On Generation X. And these are just predictions, okay? People that analyze data, and they're looking at Generation X. And they say cancer will increase. The amount of cancer will increase, especially of thyroid, kidney, colorectal, I've been talking about that, liver cancer, and pancreatic cancer. They're all out of control. Since they declared war on cancer in the 1970s, here's the stats. 1 out of 20 women in their lifetime would get breast cancer. In the 1970s. You know what it is today? 1 out of 6. We're not winning the war on cancer. We're losing the war on cancer. We spend more money on cancer. You know why? Because we don't do anything to prevent cancer. We spend all our money treating cancer. And when people come and knock on the door to get a donation for cancer societies or breast cancer research, I love volunteers, okay? I really do. And I'm very sympathetic. But if they knock on my door, I ask them, where's the money going? Well, to research. Nah, it's really not. You know, one thing about foundations, breast cancer, cancer societies and whatever, they're foundations, meaning that they can give you a receipt, right? The good thing about that is you can go on their website and they have to put their financials there. And you can look at it. I've done that. I've gone to the Breast Cancer Society, the Canadian Cancer Society, and look at their budget. 90% plus is in-house expenses and marketing. You're lucky to get 5% that goes to any research. And there's never, in as long as I can remember, I've been around a long time, I've never seen research coming out of the cancer societies of any kind looking at, for example, just researching vitamin D in cancer. Try and get a grant for that. So we've had a war on cancer. Imagine losing a war, and then we get a statement last night saying, I'm going to put an end to this cancer thing. Like, hello? And until you address the elephant in the room, metabolic syndrome, unless you address that, you're really not going to make a dent in cancer at all, in my opinion. We're looking for love in all the wrong places. And, they're putting a lot of money into pharmaceuticals and chemotherapy and that kind of thing, even immunotherapy. Okay. But that's when you got cancer. Prevention has, the word has been hijacked by detection, not prevention, detection. And again, I want to, for most of you that you've been following me for a long time, you know this, but a lot of people, we get new people every day. So I'm a rinse and repeat guy in terms of teaching. I got my little illustration out this morning. Okay? Illustration out this morning. And I remember doing this in the 1990s, I think, on a major TV show in the United States, because I had written a book and on nutrition, and I was telling them, I said, here, I put this in the book. You see this ballpoint pen? See the tip of it? Just the tip of a ballpoint pen? Takes 5 years for cancer to grow to the tip of a ballpoint pen. Said cancer's not fast growing. So, for example, and I don't tell people not to do this. If you want to get a mammogram done, they're going to have a hard time detecting that little tip in a ballpoint pen in breast tissue. But let's say they found it and they do a biopsy. That cancer's been there for at least 5 years. It wasn't, last week I didn't have cancer and today I have cancer. It doesn't work like that. And medicine and politicians and, I never question their motives. I think they have good motives. I think they're sincere. But they're sincerely wrong because they're into detection, not prevention. Now, again, I give them credit. Years and years ago, when they got one thing right, the Heart Association, the cancer societies, they got one thing right. Let's quit smoking. Okay. That's prevention. I like that. I gave them a high five back then. Publicly. I gave them high fives. Good idea. Let's quit smoking. Okay? And generally, people got the memo. Generally. There's still people smoking today. And I don't think there's a doctor in the world that would say, oh, good idea. You better keep smoking. Right? We know better. But one of the things, and when I say the elephant in the room, is metabolic syndrome. And metabolic syndrome, the cause of it is food. And if you have metabolic syndrome, you're in the 93% of the people who do. It all starts with food. It starts with the body developing insulin resistance. Or, as we like to say at the Martin Clinic, high circulating insulin. Okay? High circulating insulin. Now, let me bring you one of the, I believe, an huge instigator of cancer. A huge instigator that's creating havoc in our society. Okay? And the difference in sugars. Okay? Now, remember this, okay? Sugar, glucose. Okay? Every cell in your body can use glucose as energy. Every cell in your body can use glucose as energy. Okay? So, but no cell in your body can use fructose for energy. Okay? Every cell in your body can use glucose for energy, but it can't use fructose for energy. Okay? Point number 2. Fructose, and remember what the geniuses in our society did in the 1980s. Okay? I think I should write a book and talk about this, because I've often thought of this. When man thinks they're smarter than God. Okay? When man thinks they're smarter than God. They changed the flour like bread. Go back 100 years, maybe even a little bit more than that. The first fast food was bread, because they changed the processing of flour. And one of the things that flour doesn't have anymore is iodine. But it's because it's processed. Flour is processed. All the nutrients, that's why you have enriched bread. Enriched bread was a fast food. Flour today is just sugar holding hands. It's sugar molecules holding hands. It gets broken down into glucose rapidly. Now, I told you that your cells can use glucose as energy. Here's the issue. How fast does food get processed into glucose? It's the speed of food getting broken down. And today, we live in a high speed breakdown of foods, because man thinks they're smarter than God. Takes flour and changes it. Takes oil, like butter, and ghee, and they change it to seed oils. They think they're smart. Oh, fat ain't good for you. Saturated fat, especially in eggs, meat, and cheese, that ain't good for you. We're going to give you polyunsaturated fatty acids, which is PUFA, which are found in the seed oils and go in the middle aisles of your grocery store, and they line the shelves. They last forever. And, but, they're good for you because they don't know what they're talking about. Man thinks they're smarter than God. Don't eat butter, eat margarine. And then in the 1980s, they created the Antichrist of sugars. Man thought they were smarter than God. What did they do? In a lab, they created a sugar. And it was a fructose. High fructose corn syrup. It's cheap. It's addictive. And like a guided missile, doesn't go to your cells. It goes to your liver. It goes to your liver. And that's a big problem. It's a big problem. It doesn't go anywhere else. It takes a guided missile to your liver. And by the way, I brought this to you, I don't know, a couple of years ago or whatever, because even though it was a guided missile to the liver, on the way there, it disrupts the microbiome, which you and I talked about for the last few days. It messes the gut microbiome up while it takes a rocket ship to your liver. Okay, so it goes to your liver. Well, the problem is that even though high fructose corn syrup, and this is why you don't hear me talking about the glycemic index. You know what? High fructose corn syrup really doesn't elevate your blood sugar that much. Okay? It doesn't. But it elevates your insulin like crazy, insulin resistance. It goes to the liver, and the liver stores high fructose corn syrup as fat. In just a few days, I read a research. Let me just say this, okay, here. In 8 days, fructose turns to fat in the liver and will increase fatty liver in at the speed of 38% in just 8 days. Fructose is unique in its ability to create fatty liver. And one of the responses to that, as far as the heart goes, it elevates your triglycerides and lowers your HDL. Just the opposite of what's good for your heart and your blood vessels. Okay? Now, let's keep going. Okay? Fructose is similar to alcohol. It reacts in the same way in your liver. And the problem with the liver, and I always use the illustration of Las Vegas, what happens in the liver doesn't stay in the liver. You know, in Vegas, they say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, that's not true about your liver. Your liver, think of it, what it does. The liver is so important. It is your body's detox organ. I mean, you got other detox organs like your kidneys and your lungs, but nothing like your liver. Your liver does over 600 things, including hormones. Very important for the thyroid. But your liver detoxes your blood. One of the things that your liver does, it produces glutathione. Now, glutathione, okay, is like Velcro. Velcro. When blood goes through the liver, glutathione is like Velcro. Whatever garbage you have, it'll pick it up. This is why I always tell folks, listen. Listen, Linda, and listen, Larry. The best thing you can do to detox your liver is to empty it of fat. Millions and millions of North Americans are walking around at this moment, including children, with a process started in their liver and they don't know it, and it's fatty liver. Because the geniuses of our world decided to change the sugar from glucose to fructose. And it's a liquid. The worst thing you can do is drink sugar, fructose. You don't want to drink fructose. If you have an orange and you eat it, okay, I got no problem with that. You got some grapes and you want to have a few grapes, I got no problem with that. Just don't drink it. You're packing up the liver. And when you pack up the liver, you ain't going to fight cancer. Because you're not going to get the levels of glutathione that you need. Plus, you're upping insulin resistance. And when you up insulin resistance, it creates in the body an inflammatory response. You got inflammation. Inflammation is not Houdini. Inflammation comes when your when your cells say, I can't stand you, insulin. You make me sick. You come to my door every second of the day. And insulin resistance is at the root of metabolic syndrome. And that's very hard on your heart. We all know that because your triglycerides are going up, your HDL is going down, your blood pressure is going up, your blood sugar is starting to go up. Uric acid levels go up, especially with fructose. And there's an inflammatory response. And that we ain't going to win the war, guys. We're not going to win the war on heart disease because it's not a problem of cholesterol. We've put all our ammo on the wrong thing when it comes to heart disease. We've poured all our ammo at the wrong target. Let's get cholesterol down. In cancer, we poured all our money into detecting it and then treating it, but not preventing it. And this is why I always used to tell patients, look, if you do nothing else, read your labels and get rid of sugars, added sugars, because the food industry changed the sugar. Grandpa, you tell my grandchildren, Grandpa used to have cookies and ice cream as a kid too, you know. But now they changed the sugar. It's become the antichrist of sugar. It's a terrible sugar. It's a terrible sweetener. It makes a beeline to the liver. It's got no brakes. Like when you got fructose, it got no brakes. Can't stop. It's on its way to the liver. And it's affecting our health big time. And by the way, I mean, unless you can't see, I always tell patients, I used to say this on my radio show years ago, I rest my case. What? What are you talking about, Doc? I rest my case. I used to tell people, if you don't think they didn't change the sugars, okay, from glucose to fructose, I said, go to the mall and look at the size of people today. Fructose and these terrible oils, polyunsaturated fatty acids that you find in these so-called vegetable oils, which they cook all the fast foods in. These bad oils, I said, look at the world today and look at the population and tell me that something hasn't changed. We're so big, not muscle, fat. The geniuses in the world thought they were smarter than God. So let's substitute. Change the flour, change the oil, and change the sugar to high fructose corn syrup. And in my opinion, we'll never turn that ship around because it's cheap. If you think the food industry cares about you, they care about your dollars. They don't care about you. They don't care about your health. Okay? And you know my overarching principles. And I talk about this all the time. You have a medical industry, including the pharmaceutical industry, that knows nothing about food. Everything they know about food is wrong. Moderation. Fat-free. Margarine, not butter. right? You have a medical industry, medical doctors who are highly trained, but they know nothing about food. They got the food pyramid upside down. They don't think. So when, out there, the message is, well, fiber is more important than protein and fat. You need fiber. Brought to you by Kellogg's. So you have a medical industry, including almost every physician you've ever met. And the pharmaceuticals, they don't know nothing about food. They don't think it's even that important. And then you have a food industry that don't care about you. And you put that together, and you have what we have today in healthcare. Disaster. And here's what the solution is, politicians. Let's spend more money. Let's just pour more money in it. We need more hospitals. We need more medical staff. We need more and more and more and more and more and more. Because there's no prevention. There's no talk really about food. It's all about treatment. Like I said, it's the elephant in the room. Now, one thing we can all do, let's cut back on sugar because it's fructose. And I'm not saying sugar. Your body can take a piece of steak, by the way. Somebody asked me the question. I'll answer it tomorrow, I think, because it's probably coming in. I saw it there the other day. Dr. Martin, what's gluconeogenesis? Well, that's just your body's ability to turn anything into sugar for energy. You got a piece of steak, it needs some, eventually even a steak is going to get broken down at the cellular level into glucose. There's nothing wrong with that because it happens at a very slow speed. Okay? Anyway. Okay, guys. Tomorrow is question and answer Friday. You guys are fantastic. And we appreciate you. We appreciate all the questions. And I appreciate our audience. If you can listen live, wonderful. To those listening to podcasts, thank you very much. Give us a review and give us a good one. Okay? No, we appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. We love you dearly. Thanks for the Martin private Facebook group family. You guys are great. Appreciate it. Okay? Talk to you soon.